evening, everyone. Welcome once again. This is the third live session of MOOC on Basics of Gardening for Sustainable Health and Society. This MOOC is offered under UNESCO Open Education for Better World program. It is international online mentoring program of UNESCO. And I am very much lucky that Dr. Rekha Chauhan from SNDT Women's University is my mentor for this course. And till now, we have completed 3 modules of this course, in which we have learned about basic requirements of gardening, types of plants, and different types of gardens, and maintenance and care of plants. When we talk about care of plants, some important thing we have to keep in our mind. So to discuss these important things, we have a very dynamic and I can say specialist for this area with us, Dr. G.C. Shrotriya. Welcome, sir. And
thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And good evening to all the participants.
So let me introduce you, sir. Dr. Ganesh Chandra Shrotriya is Chairman Kisan Sanchar. He is an agronomist by qualification and holds MSc Agriculture and PhD degree in agronomy. He has wide experience of agriculture and rural development. In his professional career of over 55 years, he has served Department of Agriculture, Government of Rajasthan, and Hindustan Copper Limited, Government of India undertaking, Chad Basin Development Authority, Nigeria, West Africa, Indian Farmers Fertilizer Cooperative Limited, IFCO, Potash Promotion Project, Moscow, and IFCO Foundation in various capacities. In the recent past, Dr. Shrotriya worked as national head with IFCO Kisan Sanchar Limited from January 2010 to March 2018. IFCO Kisan is engaged in information dissemination to rural population, leveraging mobile phone-based voice messages and application. The content dissemination function of IFCO Kisan has given due consideration to the aspect of climate change and food security, risk management, and conservation agriculture. IFCO Kisan has also collaborated with CCAFS activities in India and partnering and scaling up the climate services through active support of Indian Meteorology Department. And Dr. Shrotriya is a fellow of Indian Society of Agronomy and is also associated with several national and international organizations as consultant, advisor, patron, trainer, life member, etc. He is an established communicator and has widely used ICT tools, including radio, TV, films, print media, and interpersonal communication medium for information dissemination to rural communities. He has published more than 100 papers and articles, edited several books and proceedings, and participated in large number of national and international training, seminar, conferences, and workshops. Sir, I'm really feeling so lucky that you are with us today. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting my request. Once again, I welcome you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Kavita ji, giving me this opportunity to interact with the participants of this very beneficial course. And I hope we will have a nice deliberation with the participants and they will be benefited with this presentation. Should I start?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay. You can share my presentation screen. Friends, this particular talk is there because we were talking to your course coordinator, and she said that many people are asking many questions that particularly the leaves are getting yellow and what should be the answer. Then I thought that yellowing is a general thing. And we should talk in terms of plant nutrients and then consider how this yellowing is there and what are the patterns and how we can mitigate this. So I will talk on this. And in your subject, we have talked about the basic things about sustainable health and society. So when we talk of sustainable health and society, that means it has to be, it is not only the plant or a gardening, it starts with a long chain. It starts with a good soil health. Next slide, please. It starts with healthy soil, then healthy soils will produce healthy plants. Healthy plants will give us healthy food, and healthy food will give us healthy life for both human being and animals. And then you have a healthy society and a healthy environment. So when we talk of the sustainable health in society, it's not a small thing. It encompasses so many things. And in this whole thing, right from healthy soil to healthy environment, the nutrition is the key point, because the nutrition is key to healthy plant and food. And here we are talking about plant nutrients. So what does sustainability means? It should be profitable throughout. That means it should be economically sustainable, the broad-based benefit to the society, social sustainability, and positive impact on natural environment, environmental sustainability. So all this and this long chain. So that's why the plant nutrients are very, very essential. And I thought we should start from talking about plant nutrients. So plant nutrients are the chemical nutrients, whether in organic form or inorganic form, that are essential for nourishment of the plant health. Plant nutrients fall into three categories based on the amount of plant need, not on the importance. All are important, but some are needed in larger quantities and some are needed in smaller quantities. So based on this, they are classified into three categories. We'll talk about these. And each plant nutrient perform a crucial role in plant growth and development. That we have to understand, that each plant nutrient is essential, without which we cannot probably grow a healthy plant or healthy food. We can't get it. Next, please. Next, please. So there are 17 essential nutrients. Somebody can talk about 20, but 17 are almost recognized everywhere. The three, carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen, we get from air and water. The others are called mineral nutrients. These are also again primary and secondary nutrients. Primary nutrients are needed in larger quantities, and they are also known as macronutrients. And then there are micronutrients, which are mostly smaller metallic elements, and also molybdenum and chlorine included. So 17 are there. Primary and secondary nutrients, we call them, because they are needed in larger quantity. And if you just want to have a pictorial view of this, next slide, please. So H2O is a combination of hydrogen and oxygen, and in atmosphere, CO2 is there, which is a combination of carbon and oxygen. So hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon we get from air and water. And when there is a sunshine, this plant produces chlorophyll, which is the green matter. And this green matter is consisting of all the nutrients, because there are several things which comes through green matter, and food is assimilated here, and then it goes to grain or fruit or capsules or whatever. And we have food of different kind, like we have oil seeds, like we have legumes, beans, like we have carbohydrate cereals. So all type of food is produced through all these combination of nutrients, and different variation of these give different type of nutrients or food to us. So you can have this pictorial thing of essential plant nutrients. Next. Next. Yeah, this is the composition on dry weight basis, some normal composition. And you can see at the end, large part is oxygen, carbon, and 90% is this, and hydrogen, another 6%. So 95 to 96% is oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen. And then these macronutrients, which is needed in larger quantities, sulfur, phosphorus, magnesium, potassium, this what we have said as primary or secondary nutrient, they are in terms of percentage, but micronutrients are so very needed in very, very small quantities and needed in parts per million, not even in the percentage they can be expressed. So very minor quantities are, this is the composition. Why these nutrients are called essential? All these nutrients are essential. Every nutrient is very important for plant food and plant growth. So why it is essential? Next slide, we will see that. An essential plant means in its absence, the plant is unable to complete a normal life cycle. So plant will not have a normal life cycle if any of these nutrient is missing. So sometimes you say the growth is not there. So we don't know which nutrient is not there in the soil or in your nutrient solution. So if some nutrient is deficient or it is missing, the plant is not in position to complete its normal life cycle. That is how it is essential. That the element is part of some essential constituent of our metabolites. Each nutrient is part of certain essential constituent which plant produces. Maybe enzymes, maybe carbohydrates, maybe oil, maybe anything. But there is somewhere some of these elements are always present, and one element cannot replace another's function. So that's why they are essential. So you can now understand that all the 17 nutrients which we have talked about, elements which we have talked about, have to be there in our nutritional system of the plant for the normal growth. And if there are again two laws here, one is law of minimum. You see this barrel, and you see that there are components like calcium, sulfur, iron, boron, manganese, and if the one which is limiting, like here, water is limiting or nitrogen is limiting, so all the water will come out here. Similarly, the nutrient which is minimum from the adequacy point of view can check the growth of the plant. This is to be understood that whatever other elements you supply, but the one which is deficient, if it is not supplied, then the plant growth is not there, or you don't have that much of yield. That is how we can depict from this picture. Next, please. So when we talk of a plant nutrient deficiency, we are certainly meaning that there is a depression in the growth, or it is distinctive. Each plant nutrient has its own type of a communication system. I will say they will talk in a different language. They give signs. They use sign language. Then yellowing is also a sign, and we will see that how different type of yellowing is there and what they speak to us. So each element have a distinctive deficiency symptoms also, and it can be identified. Then there are chances that it will have multiple deficiency. Some of the nutrient may be having one, some of the plant solution or soil maybe have more than one nutrient deficiency. These days in Indian soils, we do have multiple nutrient deficiencies. So, and they are of a moderate level. Acute deficiency is still not there, but multiple multi-nutrient deficiencies are also existing. Then chlorosis, which is generally is termed as a yellowing. Chlorosis means lack of chlorophyll in the plant. Chlorophyll is the green material of the leaves. When the green matter is not there, the yellowing is there. Either it is pale green or yellow. So the chlorosis of foliage is not always due to mineral nutrient. That also we have to understand. We will talk about this. And sometimes there are hidden hangers. Plant is not showing any deficiency symptoms on leaves, but stunted growth and other symptoms are there, but on leaf it may not be there. So we have to understand that also. So this is what is the plant nutrient deficiency on the plants. Then how to diagnose? Immediately we should not jump that usually people say the plant is diseased. So disease is a different thing. When a disease is there, you will have some fungus on the leaves. Fungus, when some fungus is there, it might have some powdery material. It might have some spots which are different, not the plain, but different necrosis type of symptoms are there. And insect, of course, you can see. So these can also check your plant growth, disease and insect. So we have to first see whether there's any insect or disease, and their impact. Usually we say due to nutrient deficiency also, people say there is a disease. In fact, most of the time it was recognized as a disease, but found to be a plant nutrient deficiency. Like a very good example is Khera disease of rice, which is a nutrient deficiency of zinc. So usually it starts with saying plant is diseased, but it might also have the nutrient deficiency. But if it is a pathogenic disease, it will have some powdery material, maybe brown in color, maybe white in color. It will have some other symptoms of necrosis, etc. And also, if the soil is too wet or the water is standing there for a long, then the plant roots have not got the oxygen. Then it can show wilting sign, or if the nutrients have drained out because of excess irrigation from your soil system, from the profile where the roots are there, if the nutrients are drained out, then also it will show the deficiency symptoms. So higher moisture content which drains out the nutrients can also show the deficiency symptoms. And the compact soil, sometimes the soil is so compact that the root penetration is not there. If the roots are not penetrating, it will not draw nutrients from the soil. Then it can show the deficiency because roots are not taking, because of the compact soil, roots are not in position to absorb nutrients from the soil. Then extreme weather and cold can also reduce the physiological activity of the plant, and then the plant may show a stunted growth or slow plant growth may be there. And it also affects the flower and fruit setting. Excess of fertilizers can also give you salt injuries, and that injuries, somebody may say it is scorching or wilting, and then you have those symptoms also. So when we are diagnosing a deficiency symptoms, we have to look to first to these conditions, whether any of these conditions are existing, and then we will say how we will try to recognize the deficiency symptoms for individual nutrients. So that we will talk later. Next, please. As I said, each nutrient has its own peculiar characteristics, symptoms, which it tells that I am deficient in this particular nutrient. Nitrogen is one of the most important element because And here the deficiency, I'm not giving each essential elements also have certain role in the plant. We are not discussing that today. It will be too lengthy thing, but we'll simply discuss the deficiency symptoms. The deficiency symptoms of the nitrogen starts from the lower leaves, because younger leaves, the growing part, they need nutrients, and any nutrient which is very mobile in nature will move from older leaves to younger growing tips, because the nutrient requirement is immediately there for the growing tips. So any nutrient which is mobile in the plant system will move up, and the lower leaves will show deficiency symptoms. So any nutrient which is more mobile, which is mobile in the plant, like nitrogen and potash, they will move up for fulfilling the need of the growing tips, and lower leaves will show the deficiency symptoms. So first thing, nitrogen, if the deficiency yellowing is there on the lower leaves, we will see that nitrogen might be there. We have not confirmed, but we are simply saying yellow, it starts on the older leaves. Then gradually, when the symptoms are more acute, this yellowing will start, and the whole plant may get yellowing. Then it will start with pale green color and then yellowing. If you look to some of the cereals like maize, like sugarcane, in this case we have sugarcane, you are also seeing that the internodal distance is also smaller here. So that is also nitrogen's function is to give vegetative growth to the plant. So when vegetative growth is restricted, the height of the plant is not gaining, and that internodal distance is reduced. You see, the nodes are very close. Means your stem, sugarcane is a stem only, is not growing. That's why these nodes are there. So vegetative growth is slow or it is reduced. So internodal growth is also reduced. On the leaves, when the yellowing starts, it starts in V shape. V shape is starting from the tip like a V, English word V, English letter V, and then it moves on. The leaves along the midrib, this chlorosis will start in a V-shaped manner, and this is how we can identify this is the nitrogen deficiency. Next, please. This also is a nitrogen deficiency, because I said gradually this plant will become pale green or yellow. So because nitrogen is the major component of protein, chlorophyll, and enzyme. Without nitrogen, the plant will wither or die. So this is how the dying takes place from normal to yellowing of the leaf. And as I'd say, short terminal shoots, pale green to yellow. Nitrogen is mobile, so it is in the lower leaves. And excess nitrogen can severely reduce plant hardiness and increase susceptibility to disease. Because when you give excess of nitrogen, the greenness of the plant increases. The life of the plant is also increases because it remains green. It doesn't mature so early. And the watery content of this is also very high because of excess nitrogen. And then this is very soft leaves. So it is susceptible to disease and also insects. So neither excess quantity of nitrogen is required nor lesser quantities. So optimum quantities are required. What is the optimum quantity? We will talk later. But this is how the plant is there, nitrogen deficiency. Next, please. This is phosphorus deficiency. This is also on the older leaves. But in phosphorus deficiency, we don't see yellowing. usually plant will remain dark green, and then gradually it will turn to some reddish reddening of the leaves, or something. Particularly, if you have seen a maize plant, the purple leaves will become purple. Even the stems get sometimes purple. So that purpleness or reddening, then going up to purpleness. But this is very typical of phosphorus deficiency. On the lower leaves, if you see start purple color, you must see that it is a phosphorus deficiency of the plant. Phosphorus are essential for root development, and they are also needed for nucleic acid, protein, phytins, and energy transfer reactions. So shorter stunted growth, less roots, and also on the lower leaves, and dark green color, sometimes ending with reddening and purple color. This is how it is. Deficiency of phosphorus. Next, please. Next slide. Okay, role we will not discuss. Next, potassium we are talking about now. Potassium deficiencies are also on the lower leaves, but on the leaf margin. In case of nitrogen also, it was on lower leaf, but with the midrib, the yellowing was developing along the midrib of the leaves in V shape. But now here, the leaf margin are there. First yellowing is there. Then it looks like scorching is there, as if some fire has taken place. That type of scorching on the leaf margin is there. And growth, of course, is stunted. Sometimes this also affects the quality of the grain or fruits. So the skin of the fruits or the shyness of the fruit is not there. So this is also reduced quality. And then since it increases the hardiness of the tissues, it increases the resistance towards pest and diseases. So these are the symptoms of K deficiency, which is just opposite nitrogen. Nitrogen also on the older leaves, but it was along the midrib in V shape. And here it is on the margins of the leaf, which will show in the next slide, the picture of how the leaf margins. You see the normal leaf on the right hand side, then yellowing start on the margin, and then the whole leaf looks like it's scorched or withered with this type of symptoms are there. Next slide. This is maize plant. This is on mango. See, the younger leaves are still green, but the older leaves are showing marginal deficiency of potash, marginal yellowing. Next, please. This is on groundnut. You see how the groundnut margins are affected, normal leaf and groundnut K deficient leaves. Next, please. Again, fruits. Even on the fruits, you see the deficiencies are there. Next, please. The grain setting is not there. So you see the less grain when the potash is not there. Root growth is also there. Yeah, next. This also create hardiness in the plant stem. So if sometimes there are winds, then the plant may lose, as we see in the next slide. The losing may occur. Your plant particularly, sometimes deficient banana plants having low calcium can fall down because of the heavy winds. So this also can happen because of the K deficiency. You see, it increases drought resistance K. The stomata opening of the leaves. Stomata are the small opening under the leaves. So whenever there is a drought, automatically they will close. But if the potassium deficiency is there, those functioning of opening and closing of stomata, it is disturbed, and the withering or wilting of the leaves in the drought situation is there when we don't apply K, or K is deficient. Next, please. So this was about the major nutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, required in large quantities in the plant, and its symptoms. Okay, this we have discussed. This is sulfur is another element which is required for protein synthesis and even for chlorophyll. So certain amino acids and chlorophyll. So the whole plant gets affected. It starts from young leaves, of course, but then the entire plant is affected and look pale green. Here you see the lower leaves are green and upper leaves are showing symptoms like nitrogen or potash deficiency. But this is a sulfur deficiency starting from the young leaves. And the varying degree of chlorosis means varying degree of yellowing is there. And the leaves become very shorter and narrower, because when the protein synthesis is not there, leaves will not grow and they will remain narrow. So this type of narrow and shorter leaves are there, including cylinder stalks, means that the stem part. Next, please. Sulfur deficiency. Next. Again, Indian soils are deficient in sulfur these days. The deficiency is increasing, and the red area shows that how many places the deficiency is now acute in Indian soils, because we are trying to draw the nutrients but not replenishing it. It means we are mining nutrients but not giving back to the soil. That's why the deficiency comes. The calcium is also on the older leaves. This mottling type of is there, rusty appearance in the older leaves, and the spindles may become necrotic. So this is the top of this plant is because of calcium deficiency. Some of the soils which are sodic in nature, then the calcium deficiency might be there because of the sodium, and then this is there. So, okay, next. Next, please. Okay. No, that tomato you can sow again. This is also because of the calcium deficiency. The identified as a disease, but it's a physiological disorder caused by calcium deficiency, known as blossom end rot. So tomato ends rot like this because of the calcium deficiency, and we need not to misunderstand it with any pathological disease, and we have to correct our soils with calcium application. Next, please. Magnesium also is a part of the chlorophyll. That's why it yellowing and okay, your Garavi internet connection is unstable. So again, magnesium is on older leaves, localized with mottling and chlorosis. Chlorotic appearance is starting at the tip and young along the margin, sometimes red or rusty appearance, and this is how it appears. You can see on this leaf, the chloros is there with rusty appearance, reddish. So this is magnesium deficiency. Next. Next, please. Again, magnesium deficiency on some other plants. These looks like soybean. Zinc deficiency is on younger leaves. Zinc deficiency is on younger leaves. Yeah, that was magnesium. And also some not on top or not on old, but in between younger leaves are there. The chlorotic strikes are seen. You see this yellowness and then brownish color strikes. This appears on the leaves. And this is how the magnesium deficient leaf of sugar cane or rice plant or wheat plant will look like. Wheat leaves will look like. Leaves become short and tips may be again very necrosis type tips may have. Next, please. Again, different shades of, oh, this is boron deficiency. Zinc is on citrus on left-hand side and on other plants. And also boron. Boron is a, you can see on the canola or mustard plant, the leaves, boron deficiency. And on the cotton, particularly the apical buds of the plant, they suffer and they don't grow. Many times, in some of the cases, even the like in case like wheat and rice, when you have ears where you get grains, you have ears, but they don't bear any grain, and that is because of boron deficiency. So boron deficiency is on the apical buds affects, and then you don't get a proper flowering and proper fruit setting, and the deficiency may appear on the leaves like this we are seeing on the mustard or canola plant. Next, please. This is how the zinc deficiency is spreading in India. The red portion is a deficient one, and then gradually, next please. Boron, we have shown in the cotton and also on the canola, and here we are seeing on the Gramineae family, sugarcane type of plant. Then you have this water sac type of appearances on the leaves. This is also boron deficiency. Leaves are distorted, and this translucent or water sacs in between the veins, they appear and they show the boron deficiency on the Gramineae grass family plants like sugarcane, like wheat, like rice, etc., like sorghum, jowar, etc. Next, please. This is on citrus plant, how the leaves are curved, because the younger leaves, always younger portion of the plant, they are affected, and there can be disformation of the leaves also. Disformation of buds, disformation of leaves, disformation of flowers. So apical, the young ones, they are affected and show the deficiency symptoms of boron. Of course, boron is needed in very, very small quantity. Boron in our country is widespread in the eastern part, West Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa particularly, and now it is gradually increasing towards UP also. The eastern part is very much affected because large, you see maximum boron deficiency on these soils in the eastern side of the country. Next, please. Boron deficiency in alfalfa. Next, please. Oh, in cauliflower, when boron deficiency is there and you cut the cauliflower, you see this this type of rotting here in the center of the flower, cauliflower. This is how the boron deficiency appear in cauliflower. Next, please. Iron deficiency Iron deficiency means the young leaves, you will see leaves getting white. The color sometimes will be white, not yellow, but pale yellow and towards white. And iron is very important. And on calcareous soils of high pH, even if it is there, this plant may show deficiency because there are two type of in two forms the ferrous is available in the soil: ferric iron and ferrous iron. For a plant, ferrous iron is important. So if it is ferric form, then it has to be transformed to ferrous form. Then only it will come in the metabolism of the plant and not show the deficiency. But if the iron deficiency because of the ferrous iron is there, then it is like this. The upper leaves get pale yellowing or even whitening of these. And of course, the growth remains stunted. Next, please. Manganese. You see the strips, young leaves, and you see white strips in between the veins of the leaves. So this is the type of manganese deficiency. You will see intervenal chlorosis, this is called. And this type of chlorosis you will see because of manganese deficiency. Next, please. Molybdenum, mostly these are not deficient, but in legumes particularly, it is required because it helps there in nitrogen assimilation in legumes, because they take root nodules take nitrogen from the atmosphere, and for that it is very essential. So if molybdenum is missing or it is deficient, the root growth is not there. The nodules in the legumes will be shorter and will form less, and then this type of chlorosis on the leaves will appear. So next, please. Copper. Again, copper, you see how the disc formation is there, and the chlorotic strikes are there on the leaves, stunted growth, of course, and the rolling of the leaves. Leaves become cup-shaped leaves, you see. So this is how the symptoms of copper will appear on the plant. Next, please. Sometimes copper deficiency, particularly in citrus, they give the gum pockets on the stems. A curling of the leaves on the twigs, and you can also find these type of gum pockets on the nodes of the stem. This is for citrus. Now, summarizing this, we have seen at the top the apical discoloration and dropping of buds, boron at the top, sulfur, the whole leaves become yellow, then iron whitening type of things, and pale green or white thing. The manganese, we have seen the intervenal chlorosis. Copper, we have seen. And you see, this I am particularly showing a typical, for example, here I am showing potash where you have marginal chlorosis. Nitrogen you have from the older leaves. Phosphorus, dark green color. So yellowing of different nature is there. Zinc in between, not younger or not older, but in between leaves are showing the deficiency, and different patterns of yellowing is there. So when we say yellowing is happening on my plant, we have to be sure what type of yellowing it is, and a proper diagnosis should be there. Next, please. There are certain synergism and antagonism in these nutrients. If you apply more phosphorus, you might find zinc deficiency. If you apply more zinc, you might find iron deficiency. If like this, if you are applying more phosphorus, potash deficiency is there. So there is a synergy and there is a antagonism. So green, these lines, dotted lines, they indicate synergy, and this antagonism is depicted by red lines. So this is how it is. So we have to have a balance, neither more nor less, adequate. Here, the relative response of selected crops, these are all horticulture crops up to here, and field crops also. For example, we have seen boron will have a high response, alfalfa, apples, sugar beet, cotton, peanuts, sweet potato, tomato, then citrus, lettuce, tomato, manganese high for cotton, lettuce, oats, sweet potato, like this. So every plant, because of the composition of the yield which we are taking and different type of nutrients they are absorbing from the soil, they show their response, whether it is high or low to a particular nutrient. Next, please. Can we correct nutrient deficiency anytime? Nutrient deficiency most of the time, here for these elements like boron, calcium, copper, iron, we can correct at the time of sowing, pre-sowing. Before the land preparation or before planting, we can take care of these nutrients by applying nutrient in any form, which we'll discuss later. Then while emerging, there is no need, because the seedling, the seed have certain nutrients, and that cares for all the nutrition of the plant up to the emergence state. But once the vegetative growth is there, we can take care. But after plant has entered the reproductive stage, means the flowering has set in, there's no use of applying these nutrients. You can, of course, apply some of the macronutrients so that the yield is high or the fruit size may increase, but otherwise there is no need to apply at the reproductive phase of the plant. Reproductive phase means after flowering and fruit formation stage. That is the reproductive phase of the plant. And this is how anytime, every time we need not to apply. This is what is meant for this slide. Next, please. Same, it is shown for vegetable crops. That at what time we can apply. Then next. How can we apply nutrients? First is we call basal dressing, means you apply at the time of sowing or planting. If you have soil test results, it's very good. Otherwise, general application. Then in the standing crop, we call top dressing, which is broadcast application, that you throw the fertilizer or manure by hand throughout the field. You can place also. Placement means near the root, you can place the fertilizer and then earth it up, and this is what is placement. Then you can give foliar application. You can also, with irrigation water, apply fertilizers or nutrients. This is nutrition or fertigation, we can call it. But the point is balanced and efficient application is needed. Right time, that is plant stage, even the day. You can't apply on a sunny day urea, which might vanish in the air. Then method of application, which method will be the best suited, amount of application, what is adequate in relation to the soil moisture content also. If it is dry soil and if you are applying, or if it is you are applying in relation to excess irrigation, then the drainage of the nutrients will also drain out. So we have to take care of the soil moisture also into consideration, means limited irrigation. Next, please. This is what is available as a chemical for all these nutrients. Next, please. You can apply it through foliar spray with this concentration and with these salts. These are for ferrous sulfate, for iron deficiency. You can have 1 to 3% solution, 0.5 to 2% solution of manganese sulfate, zinc sulfate, 0.5% solution, copper, 0.025% solution. Solobor is for the boron, and in a very limited quantity is needed. Ammonium molybdate or 0.1 to 0.3% solutions or concentration. So this is how. Then there are organic salts also, because people are now favoring organic salts, because in inorganic, what we have seen, indiscriminate use of fertilizers. Whenever there is an indiscriminate use of fertilizers, it can bring ill effect also. For example, the excess of nitrogen is there, means nitrate accumulation is there. If more of nitrate is there in the food, you have a different type of symptoms, particularly in young babies. Blue baby syndromes are there. So excess of chemical fertilizer is there, indiscriminate use is there. That's why people are saying we want organic vegetables or organic food. That's well and good, because if you can't properly apply fertilizer, nutrients, just like our body, if we take nutrition in an imbalanced manner, you have a stomach ache, you have maybe diarrhea or any other thing. And you have to have in a very optimum quantity and in a very balanced manner. If you are taking a lot of sodium, you might have BP, high BP. If you are taking a lot of sugar, you might end up in diabetes. So it can happen with the malnutrition. So since organic fertilizers have that, they don't have that type of effect, and they are not a single nutrient identity. If you are taking urea, it is only nitrogen. If you are taking DAP, it is only nitrogen, and phosphorus, if you are taking muriate of potash or potassium chloride, it is only potassium and chlorine. So they are 1 or 2 nutrients only. But when you take a organic source, it largely have all the nutrients in smaller quantities, but mostly it will have all the nutrients required. Then they are also environment friendly, and they also build the soil, organic source, because the organic matter is also source of nutrient for the microorganisms. So microorganisms are also good for making the plant nutrient available to the plant. So the microbial population depends on the organic matter component of the soil. If the organic matter is more, you have more population of microorganisms. More population of microorganisms means the plant, they can mobilize more nutrients for the plant growth. This is how the whole story goes. So that's why use of organic sources are preferred, and organic food is preferred because of these reasons. And when we are talking of sustainability, of course, these have a very, very important role. So FYM, which is farmyard manure, vermicompost or vermiwash, is important. Green manures are there. You can have grown manure, a green crop, and turn it back into the soil, or you bring leaves of some trees or plants from the forest or anywhere and put them in the soil. That is called green manure. Biofertilizers are there, which fixes nitrogen, like agerosporium and rhizobium, phosphate solubilizing bacteria, PSB. Waste decomposer is also there, which enhances either they bring additional nutrients, which is mostly in case of nitrogen through rhizobium or azotobacter. Otherwise, PSB and waste decomposer, they make the nutrient available. They solubilize the available, the nutrient which is there and not in solid form, because they are not in solution form. They are not solubilized. So unsoluble form is solubilized through this waste decomposer and phosphorus solubilizing bacteria. So that's why, and now potassium and zinc bacteria are also available. There are now chemicals available which are seaweed extract, because or even herbal extracts are there. Plants have all the nutrients because it has taken nutrients from the soil, so it has all the nutrients. So if you reuse the plant, you are again using these nutrients through the plants. Either you use their extract or you put them in the soil as green manure. Whatever you do, the plants are, when plowed back in the soil in extract form or in manure form, then also you are increasing the nutrient composition of the plant. Then there are bio-waste, even the kitchen bio-waste, the vegetables which you are wasting, the leaves which will fall, all these can be converted into the good manure. The panchagav and jivamats are also there in this organic source. And sometimes plant growth regulators are also used. So these are not plant growth regulators, are not the nutrient source as such, but they are the hormones which increases the growth. That's why I have listed there. Next, please. This is very important that we look for the deficiency symptoms. That is important, but by the time these deficiency symptoms are observed, some damage has already been done physiologically in the plant system. So prevention is better than cure type of thing is there. So we should see that we must apply fertilizer or manure based on the soil test result in the beginning itself. So that we know that it is nutrition and a growing plant will need nutrition. So why not give it in the beginning itself so it grows well? A child will need more nutrition for growing, more protein and all these things. But later on, protein is not needed because you are not looking for the growth. So same way, nitrogen is needed in early stages. Phosphorus needed for root growth. Potash needed for stem development, early stages, vegetative growth. So give them at the beginning itself. Don't look for the deficiency symptoms, because by that time, some damage has already occurred in the plant. So that is the thing. We need not to wait for the deficiency. Deficiency when occurs, of course, we have to eliminate it. We have to take care of it. But the best thing is we take care of the nutrition right in the beginning itself. So don't wait until you see them. This is what it is. And soil testing is key to the best practice of plant nutrient application or plant nutrient management, preventing occurrence of deficiency symptoms and maintaining healthy plant growth. So we must know our soil also. Wherever you are, the agriculture universities are there, and most of the districts in India, there is a soil testing laid by the government. So agriculture department is maintaining this. You can take your soil, and this is, I will end here. So friends, I thought we must grow healthy plants for healthy food. That's why I thought that we should talk of plant nutrient first and then think of other things carrying. So this is all. If you have any question, I will take it to the best of my ability and probably try to satisfy you.
Thank you so much, sir. This session was very much informative, and there's also messages in the chat box. Interesting presentation, nice information, informative session. So I request all the participants, if you have any queries or questions, you can ask.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, Tanvi.
Sir, I have a question.
Sure, please.
In what amount we should use organic fertilizers?
Okay, good question. Even excess of it is not bad, but when you are preparing your bed, what you should do, any organic material, you take 50% soil and 50% organic manure. That should be the combination. Suppose you are growing in a bed, then take this. Suppose you are growing on the pot, then the pot size or pit size, whatever it is, 50% soil. From that upper soil you take, because when you go down in the subsoil, I'm not talking of the subsoil, when you take the upper soil, which is more fertile, and this soil in 50% ratio, you can have organic manure use. Otherwise, for the large size of the farms, we say 20 tons per hectare. But in kitchen garden or nursery, I will say you use 50% of the soil plus 50% organic manure. And if you are taking vermicompost, which is having much more nutrient than organic manure, the ordinary organic manure, then you can have 1/3 of the vermicompost and 2/3 of the soil. So this should be the proportion. Is it okay,
Yes, sir.
Tanvi?
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. From where you are?
Sir, Fatihabad.
He is my student, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm growing some plants or only academic question?
Yes, sir. Growing plants. Kitchen
Very
garden.
good. Keep it up.
Yes.
Share with your teacher also the fruits and vegetables.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Okay.
I request all of the
Anybody
participants
else?
also, if you have any question or any comment, or you want to discuss something, the session is open now. Any participant, if you want to say something, you can unmute yourself. I think, sir, your presentation was so informative, because most of the problems shared by our participants, like chlorosis or stunted growth or no flowering, etc. Actually, these problems all you have covered in your session, and these are all because of nutritional deficiencies. And sometimes we were confused that this was some pathological problems. So you have cleared so many doubts of ours regarding these problems. So thank you so much, sir. The session was really informative, and I, Kavita, on the behalf of Manohar Memorial College of Education and from my mentor side, thank you so much, sir, for this informative session. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. And my pleasure. I enjoyed the session with your students and others.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Thank
I'm
you.
also feeling honored, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.